before you get back into that hard training. What is up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we are on a nice, easy 8-mile run. We're about 2.6 miles in, and just taking it nice and slow, nice and chill. It's one thing that I am constantly fighting myself on, is controlling my heart rate, controlling my pace, and not trying to push and work too hard on these easy runs. But this topic isn't really about a recovery run or easy runs. It's more about ramping back up after your races. This is definitely something that I had to really pay attention to, because pretty much for 4 months straight, I was doing one ultramarathon after another. So I did 50K, had 3 weeks, then I did a 55 miler, had 4 weeks, did another 50 miler, which ended up being a lot harder than the 55 miler, and that was only 4 weeks or 5 weeks after that 50 miler. And then I had about 6 weeks to get ready for the Mount Sparta 24-hour race that took a lot out of me, and that all that stimulus really took its toll on my body. So I took that full week off, and now I am ramping back up my training, getting ready for the Mid-State Massive in October. But let's get a couple more miles in, get some work done on this trail, and we will check back in, talk a little bit more about ramping up the miles and getting your body back into training form. In the past, one thing that I really struggled on was setting up my freaking training properly and giving myself enough time to recover, enough time to peak in my training, and then utilize that training effect in my actual races. So I got a coach. If you guys have the extra funds or anything like that, I strongly recommend getting a coach or a tailored training plan based on your goals, just because your body can take up to 4 to 6 weeks to fully recover. So that's why basically for the next couple of weeks, all my runs, even though my mileage is going to slowly start creeping up, the actual training effect and stimulus that I'm putting on my body, it's mostly going to be aerobic. It's mostly going to be just waking up my aerobic base, waking up my base cardio, but basically saying, hey body, it's time to wake back up. We're getting back into training. I'm working on our base, but I'm not going to be, causing more micro tears in my muscle, in my legs, in my core, and all throughout my body, pushing for hill repeats and intervals. I'm going to wait until my body is fully recovered and I can properly absorb all the training effect from the races that I did throughout these last 4 months. And that's going to take patience. I already ran 4 miles yesterday. I did it on concrete and it felt amazing. I went way faster than I should have. I was running at like a 7:14 pace. Average heart rate was about 155, 160. And I got sucked into that. Now, I know running zone 1, zone 2 for 2 or 3 weeks straight isn't always the funnest thing. If you're like me, you like to bomb down hills and you're constantly racing your PRs on trails or trying to always push it. But I have found a couple ways of actually trying to mitigate that and making sure that I'm staying relatively easy on these runs. The biggest thing that has really helped me is checking out new trails that I haven't been running on, or revisiting old trails that I haven't run on in a long time. That way I'm not so worried about my splits and my time. I'm not racing myself or the clock. I'm just enjoying a new trail and enjoying the nature that's out here. Also trying to choose trails that kind of force you into a slower pace. So those trails with a lot of roots, a lot of rocks and everything that you're constantly dancing around, kind of pushes you into a lower pace. And in turn, it's a lot easier to stay in that zone 1, zone 2 area where you can work on your aerobic base. Another thing that I like to do is, and this might not apply to everybody, but I like to bring along my camera with me. That just kind of gives me another reason to stop, another reason to slow down, to talk to the camera, make sure I'm at that nice conversational pace that I can comfortably talk to the camera. And if there's a pretty view or anything like that, stop and take a picture, post it online or whatever it may be. Just enjoy it for later. I'm not quite sure how many people actually take pictures of scenery and then at a later date just pull up their phone and be like, oh, how beautiful the places I've been. But if that's something you like, bring your camera along with you, bring your phone along with you. And that has really helped me, stay in that zone 1, zone 2, just because I have something other than running that I'm focusing on. The last thing that really, really helps me, and it's one of the reasons why I don't really listen to music or podcasts on races, is exactly that, listening to podcasts and races, where you're focusing more on what's in your ear. So if you have an audiobook or a podcast, you're not really focusing on pushing or the time or, a downhill that you can bomb. You're more really focused on the audiobook or the podcast that you're listening to. That's definitely one reason why I don't listen to it during races, just because I like to stay focused at the task at hand and make sure that I don't forget about fueling, eating, resting, focusing on what pains are hitting my legs and where I need to slow down. So that's one reason why I don't listen to music, but it is not music, listen to podcasts, specifically podcasts and audiobooks. But it is one reason why I do fire them up during these easy runs, just because it's a lot easier to get a nice, flow state run or a nice zone 1, zone 2 pace and enjoy a podcast and not think about, setting a PR or bombing down hills. So definitely try out those techniques if you are having trouble, like I do, staying in the zone 1, zone 2. Check out new trails. Force yourself to go on trails that are a little bit harder to run on, and listen to podcasts and audiobooks, because all those things have really helped keep these zone 1, zone 2 runs interesting and not go crazy, just slowly slogging down the trail. right, so just finishing up this 8-mile easy run. Just to wrap everything up, once again, kind of focusing on ramping back up, not just going head first into training and going back to where you peaked out your training right before your taper, and slowly working your way back in to your peak training. It's definitely something that has helped me for these, back-to-back ultramarathons that I've been doing, and hopefully it's going to really pay off for this 100-miler. You just got to give your body a little bit of rest and make sure that you're fully recovered before you get back into that hard training. Oh my God, I just almost said shit. That is definitely not going to help recovery if you're talking to a stupid camera and you fall flat on your face. But once again, make sure you go back, slowly work your miles back up to your peak training, and get ready. Do a nice proper taper so you're fully recovered and you can absorb all your training from the races past, your peak training, and then come into your race fully recovered with all that training under your belt, and you can use all that stimulus to hopefully set a PR in your key race for the year. But once again, make sure you like and subscribe. If you enjoy this content, hit that like button, hit the bell so you're notified whenever I go live or whenever I release a new video. I hope you enjoyed me almost falling on my face, and thanks. Have a good day. Slowly chipping away, becoming an average savage.